I got no idea. Our first Governors General was Viscount Monk. Hairy-looking dude. He had a beard like yours.
Nobody's got a beard like mine, Nick. Come on.
Well, it's not quite as bushy as yours, that's true. But he was our Governors General from July 1st, 1867 to 14 November, 1868.
Huh. And of course,
that was...
and of course, there was Earl Grey.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely, can't forget Earl Grey.
Earl Grey, who gave us the Grey Cup.
That's right.
And let's not forget Lord Stanley.
Or Lord Lisker, for that matter. He was next.
Okay, but what did Lord Lisker give us? Lisker Collegiate High School?
Maybe. Maybe. Legacy. What's his legacy?
I don't know.
Lisker Street. He gave us Lisker Street.
Lisker Street in downtown Ottawa.
That's right.
So
he was governor. I was just trying to find out when he was Governor General. 1861 to 1867. No, that's not true. He's Chief Secretary for Ireland before he became that.
Okay.
Before he became Canada's Governor General.
Governor General,
anyway.
Nick. No, you keep on referring to them all in the plural.
Well, I thought that's how it's said.
No. The plural is Governors General, and the singular is Governor General. The mistake
Governor General.
The grammatical mistake everybody keeps making is by referring to them in the plural as Governor Generals. No, they're not Governor Generals. They're Governors General. So you're quite right, but that's the plural. So the singular is Governor General. So you were right about that.
So
your instinct was right. You were overcompensating.
I was. Lisker Collegiate Institute in Ottawa takes its name from him.
Correct, yeah.
Let's see, Lisker
it's a high
Street,
school.
Toronto. Yeah, Lisker Street, Toronto. And Lisker Avenue in Saskatoon, in Mississauga, Ontario.
I cannot tell you.
Neighborhood.
I cannot tell you how thrilled I am to learn that a number of municipalities across this country honored Lord Lisker by naming a street after him.
Yeah, well, he's not done yet. He had, in Meadowvale, the neighborhood has been called Lisker, and in the fall of 2007, a new Lisker GO station was opened.
Wow.
On the Milton GO train line.
That's in Toronto.
This guy gets around.
So,
yeah.
So this would be interesting, I think, for our listeners to know. First of all, if you're Canadian, hopefully you know about what the function of the Governor General is. The Governor General is the Queen's representative in Canada. And why is it important for the Queen to have a representative in Canada? Not just for ceremonial reasons, but because when Parliament passes an act, the act has to pass both the House of Commons and the Senate, and then to actually become law, it has to have what's called royal assent, which means that the Queen has to agree to it, which she does pro forma, but she does have to agree to it. And when the Queen is not in residence in Canada, then the function of the Queen is taken over by the Governor General. So the Governor General, in the name of the Queen, will agree to the legislation and then sign it into law. And then there's, before it actually becomes the law that you have to follow, it has to be published in the Gazette. It's called the Gazette, and there's a little bit of administrative stuff that goes on around it that doesn't matter. But that's the function. In addition to ceremonial duties, that's the function of the Governor General. Now, here's an interesting piece of trivia, Nick, that you will know, but most Canadians probably don't know, and that is that when you join the Armed Forces of Canada, you do not swear allegiance to the Prime Minister or to the country, for that matter. You swear allegiance to Her Majesty the Queen, and who is the Commander-in-Chief of the Canadian Armed Forces, and through her representative, the Governor General. So, in the pecking order, in terms of who gets to give orders to the military, the head honcho really in Canada would be the Governor General speaking on behalf of the Queen. And one other bit of trivia, how does one become the Governor General? Well, you actually have to be appointed, and it's appointed by the Queen, but the Queen will take the advice of the Government of Canada, or the Council of Canada, which is the Privy Council. And the Privy Council is not just the government. If you're a member of the cabinet, then you're also sworn as a Privy Councillor, and you're a Privy Councillor for life, which means that you're consulted. You could be consulted from time to time by the government of the day, irrespective of what political party you belong to. As long as you were sworn in as a Privy Councillor, you remain a Privy Councillor for life, and there are certain functions that they undertake, and the appointment of the Governor General is a Privy Council, or the selection of who to recommend for Governor General is a Privy Council function. Now, one last piece of trivia, I lied, I said that one was, but when the Queen dies, as inevitably she will, then
sooner or later,
all of the Privy Councillors for life are automatically no longer Privy Councillors. So in other words, you're only a Privy Councillor for life for the reigning monarch when you were appointed to the Privy Council. And if the Queen dies, then you have to be reappointed and take a new oath of allegiance to the new monarch when you become a Privy Councillor. So the members of the cabinet, for instance, who were sworn in as cabinet ministers and as Privy Councillors, if they were in cabinet in government when the monarch dies, then she or they would have to take an oath as a Privy Councillor to the new monarch. A little bit of it sounds archaic, and if we had lots and lots of time, I would go into detail as to why this is the way it is and what the historical background to it is and why we continue to do it. But that's not really anything that I think our listeners are interested in at this moment. But I just thought that at least it's a bit of a teaching moment.
You know something? While you're talking, I'm just having a look at Lord Dufferin, who is our third Governor General. I'm beginning to realize that at least with this particular post in our history, it's filled with some very colorful characters.
Indeed.
And just as an example, Lord Dufferin was the one who established the Royal Military College, he brought Prince Edward Island. He chaired over bringing in Prince Edward Island into the Confederation, and several well-known Canadian institutions such as the Supreme Court of Canada, the Royal Military College, and the Intercolonial Railway, different than the Intercontinental Railway. He also established the Governor General's Foot Guard. He went on and on. This goes on and on and on. He established Governor General's academic medals, of which nearly 50,000 have been handed out, the most prestigious medals for students that can be awarded by the country. He handed out, he established sporting prizes for shooting and for curling. Anyway, that's why Lord Grey went with the football, and why Lord Stanley had to go with hockey, because shooting and curling were already taken.
Curling.
Fascinating chapter in our history.
Yes.
All of this to say that our current Governor General is a long drop down as far as the bar is concerned compared to some of the people who have populated that post over the course of our history.
Well, of course,
and never should have been appointed in the first place.
Well, of course, historically, the post of Governor General, whether here or in any other of the Commonwealth dominions was originally filled by members of the aristocracy and indeed sometimes members of the royal family. So,
well, Lord Dufferin saved Quebec City. They were going to demolish old Quebec, and he was appalled. He stopped it and had them repair the damage they'd done. So you don't see governors general do anything more than absolutely the bare minimum in their official duties. They certainly don't get out like these early guys did.
And just to wrap up this segment, Nick, again, I just want to emphasize that if you are Canadian and you're looking for somebody to recommend to the government that they in turn recommend to Her Majesty the Queen as the person to be appointed Governor General, I just want you to know, with all humility, I'm available for the job. And in fairness, if it's not me, Nick's available for the job also.
Well, we could co-chair.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to take a break. If you're listening to us on the live show, stay put. And if you're listening to us on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, our friends, thank you for joining us. And we will catch you on the next podcast, The Nick and Joe Show, here on ThinkRadio.ca.